if we're doing any kind of production, we do it during business hours, and then we leave it that way, and then we just warehouse everything over here. Which this is so unexciting. It's pallets on boxes of pallets, right? So this is just kind of a catch-all room, right, of everything that's already made. And so, in here is just full of boxes and pallets of, like, this is, you know, the 1818 and the 17017. This is some research material we're working on. Okay. So you can see, you know, this is, and I can tell you about it. I can't tell you if we're going to release it this year or not. We call it NIMEC, and this is a homogeneous methylene urea ammonium sulfate, a char, another ingredient we don't have. What's unique about it is that it's very high in silica. And this comes out to a 2600 right here as it is. And we made it to prove we could make it. We don't know if we're going to put it into production yet. And but
wait a minute. If that is spread out and then watered, does it disperse?
Yes.
Okay. Here's where you push that towards fine turf and golf turf.
That is the idea.
That's exactly where you go with it, because
fine turf and golf turf.
Holy
the greens grade.
that business right there. Now you're speaking my language.
Yeah. Wow. So turf and greens grade, right? Yeah. So and like when I say this is top secret, like y'all are literally the only person that has ever seen this.
So,
excuse me.
Do we need to turn the cameras off? I keep this to myself forever.
And the only reason I haven't been, vocal about it is that we don't know if we're going to release it in 2022 or 2023. We're watching the market, watching what goes on, and trying to make the appropriate determination, because our manufacturing capacity on this is not what we had at Carbon Earth. At Carbon Earth, we're doing anywhere between 3 and 6 tons per hour, right? This, we can't produce that fast. So if we are going to release it, it's going to be in a very limited capacity, right? We have to control the sell of it, because if it grows too fast and we can't keep up with manufacturing, then it's not helping us, right? We already ran into that with Carbon Earth. We grew way too fast. We could never make enough of it.
Keep up.
And people are pissed off because it's like,
where's my stuff?
Where's my shit?
Yeah, and you're like, I'm making 2 tractor trailer loads a day. Like, it's coming out all day, every day. And then, we're running even longer shifts to try and get it all out, and just could not make enough. The more we made, the more we sold. And so we don't want to do that again. And so we have to be very strategic about the way we go about it. So basically, everything we make, we go over there, we formulate, we bring it over here, package all the 9 yards in here. We do testing in here. We have a lab down the road we can go to after this, but we call this the farm, right? And this is an old farmhouse from the Revolutionary War. And then they built a house onto it, but that whole center section, that's kind of a cabin right there, it was like the original refurbished one from, it was actually one of George Washington's generals was gifted that. And so, we rent this backspace back here, and I absolutely love it out here. And like the whole idea of when we started working with biochar, it was like out here, right? This is when I had a lawn care company, and I had met John Borden, and he's like, yeah, come out to the farm. And I'm like, yeah, what's the farm? And I came out here, right? And I was like, oh God, this is nice, right? Like I get into this. And he worked for a renewable energy company, and it was trying to figure out, their byproduct of their renewable energy production was biochar, and it was trying to figure out what the hell to do with biochar. And when I met John, it was perfect, because I was already in turf and I had acres that I could test and shit. And so we put it into production use, like on my properties, but we would do more like just regular kind of trials in a controlled way out here in this land. They were all planted, and when they were planted, they were like 4 foot tall or whatever. In the center's the control, On the left is a low rate of biochar, and on the right is a high rate of biochar.
Oh, I see. Hold on.
And at first, the control and the low rate of biochar were doing really, really well. And everything on the right over here was basically dead at the high rate. And we were like, man, this is not good. Like, doesn't make sense, all right? But what it did demonstrate to us was that, you know, biochar is not one of those things that more is better, right? There's an appropriate amount. And it was trying to figure out what positives were we getting from the biochar at the low rate that was causing a problem at the high rate. And then that's when you started looking at the different characteristics, right? Like, is the source material using high cation exchange capacity or high anion exchange capacity? And the biochar we used was a hardwood, right? And so it's dialing in more and more details and trying to unpack and make sense of what you're seeing. And then, you know, doing things like testing the biochar that's been in the ground, you know, pulling an NPK analysis on it and see what the biochar looks like as it's sat with the soil for a long period of time, right? And that was the inspiration behind the Carbon Earth products, from what we've gathered, that actually started, like, this was the inspiration behind the Carbon Earth products.
I was thinking about you.
So this is our shit, where we hang out. And again, I just like the view and being up here. Nobody can hear us down there. We keep a couple bottles of whiskey over here on the shelf because
When it's one of those days.
yeah, if you got to drink at work, you got to drink it at work. And we got some old-fashioned mix too if you're feeling froggy and you want an old-fashioned.
Lord.
But yeah, so we sit up here, we lock ourselves in, and this is where we have big brainstorming sessions. These are where we sat and we cried about fucking Carbon Earth and drank multiple bottles of whiskey. This is, you know, I've got a lot of memories right here in this place, and you know, whether it's printing labels or, you know, coming up with the concept of what was in those buckets out there, you know. I mean, we sit right here and turn off the phones and
Figure it out.
just figure it out, right?
I was thinking about you, like drinking some TV. Felt like I was drinking.
Wild Violet has the reputation as the hard to kill weed.
It is. I'd say that's the one around here that everybody gets in arms about when they see Wild Violet, because typically they spray it with three-way, and then spray it with three-way, and then spray it with three-way, and then spray it with three-way.
And it keeps on hanging on.
Yeah. Triclopyr around here, and I would argue that in most places, is the most underutilized tool available. Or when they think of quinclorac, they think of crabgrass.
No, I'm thinking, when somebody tells me quinclorac, I'm automatically thinking two special broadleaf weeds, Wild Violet and clover species. That's where my head goes. I'm not thinking so much for crabgrass. I'm thinking more for the hard to kill broadleaf weeds as the kicker to make sure that your primary broadleaf product gets it done.
Let's fire it up. Well, you want to look at the backyard first?
Yeah, let's check out the backyard, because I understand that the backyard is special. A little bit more Wild Violet, a little bit more of the common chickweed, but the reason why I'm doing this is this is how I determine how established any kind of turf is, whether it be seeded or sodded, because if it comes up in my hands when I tug on it a little, that means that it's not established yet, and it's time for me to pull back, give it a week or two more to take before I do anything to it, because if it's not ready and if it gets treated, no, it doesn't end well.
This is Ray. This is Aldo.
Aldo, nice to meet you.
J Pink, of course. This is Robert Palmer.
Hey,
What's up, man?
how's it going?
My
Good to
wife
meet you.
Asami
Yeah, you
down
too.
here.
Hey, Good to see you.
Ray's here from Hawaii.
Welcome. Aloha.
Well, you know, and this is like totally the surprise because J Pink told me, guess what, Ray? This week you're going to be spraying the lawn. Soluble fertilizers always go first. And here's another pro tip. Soluble nitrogen often enhances uptake of herbicides.
Hey, are you Turf Truth?
Excuse me? It's okay, I saw the soil test.
And note to everybody, this is by no means proper PPE.